Okay, first thing we need to do is to mask off the crown molding, the baseboard, and the adjacent walls. We're masking out the adjacent walls because we're just going to do one accent wall here. Try to keep your tape one piece. It makes for removal much easier because you're not pulling individual pieces of tape. You grab one piece of tape and remove the entire piece. Another tip is to use a 5 tool in the corners. Just push your tape in where you want it, pull, rip it, beautiful. Now we're going to do the baseboard, same thing, blue tape. We always like to use low-tack blue painter's tape. This way it does not damage the trim when we remove the tape after our project is complete. Okay, so for this mural, we do this with stencils, but what we have to do is come up with some colors to give us the illusion of depth. So what we do is we start with the lightest colors up top in a mural like this. I used Benjamin Moore Navajo White mixed with a little bit of Harbor Gray, my first gray color. Then I take the next layer and I'm going to do Harbor Gray mixed with a little bit of Hearthstone, and that's my second color. The third area here is going to be Hearthstone mixed with a little bit of Ocean Floor, and then as we move to the front, it's just straight ocean floor in with the trees in front. Now that gives us this great illusion of depth. Okay, for the first horizon line that we're going to do, which is close to the top in the sky, we're going to be mixing the Navajo White, which is our base coat, with this Harbor Gray. So, and the way we're going to do that was we're going to take rollers with both colors and we're going to kind of mush them together. It's a super simple technique. It's almost a color wash, but done with rollers. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, I got my flex tape here, and now I'm going to do my first horizon line. I'm going to mask out the top. So I'm going to come into my corner here. I'm going to come down about a quarter of the way of the wall. Just do a visual. Look at your wall, come down about a quarter of the distance, then take your flex tape and do something like this. I like about here. And then I'm going to bend my tape up, bend my tape down, do something that looks kind of natural, that will give you the look of just natural mountains in the background. And look, I'm just being really random about this, and you can always pull the tape down and adjust it and come up with a shape and a design that you like. Okay, so I've got my tape up, which represents my top horizon line. Now I'm going to take a 4-inch dense foam roller, and I've got my two colors. I've got my Navajo White, and then I got my first gray that I'm going to use here, which is Harbor Gray. What I do is I load my Navajo on my roller, and I'll put some right underneath the taped line here. You see what I'm doing here? I go right underneath that. Then I'll come into a little bit of the Harbor Gray, and I'll put that on top. So I start to get this mottled effect of Navajo and Harbor Gray. Then I might come back into the Navajo, and I'm back up with some Navajo. So I still got some Harbor Gray in my roller head. Now I'm going to come back to some Harbor Gray. I'm going to put some of that up. So you get the idea. I'm doing just some cross-hatching with two colors to get a mottled look so it looks like there's more haze happening and a little bit more of a natural look than just a solid color. Okay, so I blocked in with my color wash the Harbor Gray and the Navajo White with my first horizon line. Now I'm going to pull the tape down and we'll start to stencil treetops on the top of the horizon line. You can see how great this flexible tape worked to create this natural looking mountain horizon line. Okay, if you're going to use a little spray adhesive, either spray it in a well-ventilated area or use a mask like I am here. And when you spray, just do an even coat on the back. Use a good repositionable spray adhesive. Put a coat or two on there. Let it dry for about 3 minutes until it gets just slightly tacky. And then you use your knuckle and you test the back of it. And when the adhesive does not transfer to the back of your knuckle, you know you're ready to go. Okay, we got spray adhesive on the 2 smallest trees in this kit that we have here, the Mountain Pine Stencil Kit. And I selected the 2 smallest trees because we're doing the horizon line that's furthest in the distance. So they're going to be the smallest. So I've got these. They're knuckle tack. They're ready to go. I don't even need a piece of tape. And now I'm going to come down. I'm going to do that same color wash technique. A little bit of the Navajo, a little bit of the Harbor Gray, and coming up top here. And what you do is you just kind of place the tree randomly. You see that? And you start to build the horizon. And I'll do this one a little smaller, and I'll do this one a little taller. And then I randomly start to get these in with the color wash and the mix of the 2 colors. I'm going to come back, I'm going to grab a little more paint, a little bit more of my Navajo, a little bit more of my Harbor Gray. And since I'm going to be using the 2 smaller stencils, I'm going to space these out a little bit. So I'm going to go back up top. I'm going to do a little bigger tree here. I'm going to even add one next to it. I'm going to go up top here. Look how easy this is. I'm really starting to build this cool horizon line of mountain pine trees in the distance of our Misty Mountain mural. Now I'm going to go to the other stencil in a second, and we will start to break up the shapes. So I think we'll do that right now. I'm going to place this stencil down, and I'm going to grab this other stencil that's in the Mountain Pine kit. I'm going to do my color wash once again, and I'm going to start to put some of these in. And this is going to give me a slightly different shape and a slightly different effect. And see how when we use 2 colors like this, we start to get this effect of layering. What we really want to do is we want to break the straight line on this horizon. So if you get big areas of the horizon like that, get a tree in there that breaks that so it doesn't look like there's a flat spot there. Looks like I need a little more gray, so I'm going to come back into a little bit more gray. And just a touch of white, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to start putting some more of those in. Check that out. Do a tall one here. It's looking great. Another one here. Another one next to it. And then I'm going to come back into my other stencil and do some more layering. Okay, in the body of this color wash here, I like to get some shapes going of some of the pine trees, and you just mix up the value. Value is how light or dark something is. So look, I'm putting some light trees in, some dark trees. That's all determined by how much of the darker color I have on my roller. So I'm just going to come in and put some of those, and it just gives the illusion that there's all of this, all these trees and all of this forest in the foreground. And I'm going to mix this up with 2 different stencils, my 2 smallest stencils, to really complete the look for our distant horizon line. Okay, so I got my first horizon line going with the color wash with the lighter colors, and I've got the stencil of the pines on the top edge. Now I want to build this kind of valley shape here, so that's why I brought this first color wash down to a point a little bit. So I'm going to take our flex tape and I'm going to lay out what will be the next horizon line. So I'm going to come back into the corner, into the edge here, and I'm going to start it, say, like this. Now remember, it's the bottom of the tape that is giving you the shape. I'm going to paint my color wash into that. So I want to stay on top of the color wash that I did previously, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm coming down and building this natural valley shape here. I'm going to come back up And I'm just bending the tape in a natural, organic way to emulate mountains in this almost like a Colorado mountain scene here. There you go. So, guess what we're doing now? The next color wash. Okay, got my flex tape up, second horizon line is in. Now I go to my next darkest color on my color study here, which is this Hearthstone right here. It's this one here. So I'm going to do Harbor Gray and Hearthstone. Same color wash technique. I'm even using the same roller, believe it or not. So I come in to the Harbor Gray, come into a little bit of the Hearthstone. You can always come back into a little Harbor Gray. The idea is you want a mix of colors on here. Now I'm coming up top and I'm going to go right underneath and I'm going to blend and mix, cross hatch this roller so I have a blending of these two colors, which is again emulating movement and depth in these distant mountains. You can see the color wash and how that really aids with the whole look. If this was done in one solid color, it wouldn't look quite as dimensional, but it would still look awesome. You can do it very graphic, in a graphic style by just doing solid colors. It's easier, but I kind of like this whole color wash thing. Mixing two colors. Now look, you think that's a little dark. I'm going to come back into a little of my light right here. Just mix a little light on there. Lighten it up. Look at that, looking great. If you see some roller marks or straight lines, you can try to knock them out, but they could easily be looked at as some branches or tree branches or sticks or rocks or something like that happening. So the mind completes the illusion. We'll look at this and we'll say, oh, is that a roller mark? No, you'll say, oh, that's a branch. Okay, mixing it up nice. I'm really looking forward to getting the next size trees in here. The next size trees are just a little bit bigger than these. I've already got them spray adhesive, so they're about ready to go up. And I'm going to do the same technique where I'm going to use these two blended colors, just break the horizon line with the tips to really get that illusion that there are some bigger trees now as we move into the foreground. Okay, got the second horizon in, did the color wash with the two colors. Time to pull the tape and do the trees. So just grabbing our flex tape and revealing our very natural looking valley that we've started to put together here. I can't wait to do the trees on this. This is really going to start to bring the illusion up. So let's get to that right now. Here I got my next size trees here. I brought the next two larger trees, and I'm just going to grab one, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with the trees above. I'm going to do a color wash here. I've got my lighter color, my Harbor Gray. I got my Hearthstone. I mix them together a little bit. I got a nice color wash going on, and now I'm just going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to place this here, and I'm going to start to build my horizon line. And I'm going to break it up. I'm going to do some full trees. I'm going to do some smaller trees. You can't make a mistake with this. That's what I love about murals like this. You cannot make a mistake because you just randomly place this by eye. No one can tell you it's in the right or the wrong place. It's what feels good to you, what looks good to you. We are getting a great look here. Oh boy, I love this already. Do you see what's going on here? We're really achieving depth. That's the idea here. And we do that by getting darker in the foreground and larger in the foreground. Okay, another trick is you don't use the whole stencil, just use the edge of the stencil. Let me see if I can show you that. So I just get the edge or the top edge or the side of it just to kind of emulate branches overlapping other branches. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just using a piece of it, just an edge, just a quarter, just breaking it a little bit. It's a great technique and just super easy. See, this tree's a little bit crooked, and if you don't like it, just go over it with another tree and break it. It's that easy. You just build layers. It only looks better with more layers. Okay, we're down to the last horizon line. I'm going to lay it in with my flex tape right now, and we're closing in. Final color wash, using my two darkest colors, the darkest one being ocean floor, and that's it right up top. You know, you could actually do this project without using the flex tape and just using your roller essentially as a paintbrush to paint the line of the horizon that you like. But we like to use tape sometimes because it gives us a visual to look at first, and then we can adjust it up or down, step back 15 feet. It's always nice to step back a few feet to judge your lines. It's a great way to judge decorative art. 15 feet back. Okay, pull the tape. Let's go. To reveal the final foreground horizon. And now let's use the biggest trees and finish this mural up. Okay, so it's so simple. I just block in my darkest trees and my biggest trees in the foreground, and we really start to finish this illusion. This is just a beautiful mural. It's super simple. It's easy to do. Anyone can do it. You just got to get the mural pine, the mountain pines kit, and just form your horizon lines. It's that simple. And I'll use some medium trees in here too. And I'll even get some straight dark color at the very bottom. I think that's a great way to go. So at the very bottom of this mural, I want to use almost straight or pure ocean floor. That's my darkest color. And I'm going to have it darkest at the very bottom and at the foreground here. And that will really help with this illusion that, look at that, that's way up front in our mural here. So I'm going to put a couple of really dark trees across the very front. Just looking great. Look at that, just awesome. Okay, this is our last tree and we're done with this mural. A little unmasking. Oh, but we do have a surprise stencil here that's going to bring it up to the next level. We're going to do that right now. Bam. Okay, we're going to finish this mural off with the Flock of Crane stencil. It's actually our small craft style stencil, and I've got a little spray adhesive on the back of it. I'm going to look at my valley here. I do not want to put it dead center. I'm going to put it slightly up and to the right. And what's nice about this stencil is you don't have to paint every one of these. You can do a shape within this stencil. I'm going to use my roller, it's already got paint on it, and I'm going to do a couple across the top here, and then maybe I'll do a couple down here, and form what I would consider an interesting shape of a flock of cranes flying over this beautiful, misty mountain mural here done with mountain pine stencils. So I've got these great cranes now flying, adds this wonderful dimension. I'm going to throw a couple more up here. We're going to keep this happening. It's rolling. This is just a great way to finish this off, add some real depth and perspective. Okay, we finished the mural. We're going to unmask and see what it looks like. Coming up here, this is an accent wall, so our adjacent wall has been masked out. Look at that, looking beautiful. Now I'm going to come in and do the baseboard. And because I masked it in one piece, it comes off in one piece. I love that. Look at that. Super easy. Super easy. Worked out great. Nice clean trim. Now I'll do the crown molding. Up to the crown molding here. And we have got a beautiful accent wall with a misty mountain pine mural. What do you think of this?